Welcome back to the Tuesday Weekend, the podcast that wrings out the bar rag and pours that into the Jägermeister bar. I don't know what. No, it's the the mat.
Mat shot, yeah. A Jersey Turnpike, a slippery weasel. I mean,
it's so gross.
names for it.
Okay, don't be doing that. We are back this week. We are talking about bartenders and some general advice for either new people getting into bartending or people who have been bartenders for a while but are trying to up their game at this point. And, well, ice down your glasses.
Honestly, I had a bartender friend of mine who I worked with and trained a bit. She's up in Utah. I think she's still at a bar named Sue. And I was working with her there and I started making drinks. And she's like, Nick, ice your glasses. And I drilled into her head when I was training her. You do this first every single time. You put your glassware up. Yep. That being said, when we're talking about things you're going to tell new bartenders, a lot of bartenders don't learn drink hierarchy when you're working. So what that means is you're going to pour the most difficult drinks first on an order and the easiest ones last. If you're thinking about this from a kitchen standpoint, you're not going to make the salad that's going with the well-done steak first.
Correct.
So
certainly don't dress it yet anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So same exact thought process there. You're going to make the old fashions, the martinis, all the mixed drinks first, and then you're going to get to your wines and your bottled beers and your draft beers. You're just going to go down that order, and that's how you're going to put everything up. As a beginning bartender, that'll also increase your speed as you get faster at the hard drinks, because the other stuff's super easy. It takes a minute to make a martini. It takes about the amount of time to pour the alcohol to make a Jack and Coke. Like when I've told people, yeah, we would get timed on pouring drinks at Sundance. Also, good luck, Sundancers, because that's going on right now.
Oh, yes, it is.
I love it and hate it. I do miss it. I'm seeing all the pictures of my friends still working it and stuff. Man, I always had a great time at Sundance.
Yeah. I have an overall positive reflection on Sundance, but one or two nitpicks. Anyway.
Yeah. But like Kettle One would clock all the bartenders in town about how fast they go. And those of us up in like the top 10 were doing over 200 drinks an hour. People like, that's impossible. And I'm like, it takes 6 seconds to pour a vodka Red Bull.
Yeah.
I'm like, if someone orders 10 vodka Red Bulls, guess what? I'm done with that in a minute. It takes me longer to put it in the computer or tab them out than it does to pour the drinks.
Now this is advice for bar guests, not necessarily the bartender, but hey, if there are 4 or 5 of you, why don't you all tell me what you want to drink at once? So that way I can make them in order. If 3 of you are having the same thing, I'm making boom, 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 not make one. Oh, you want one too? Make one. Oh, you want one too?
A buddy of mine sent me a video of that. It's this dive bar guy, like bald guy with a beard. He's like, okay, so you want 3 lemon drops. Got it. So he makes them. Oh, you want 2 more. Got it. You want 1 more. And it's just like, or you can make all 6 right there and it takes half the time. That's when you see a bartender getting frustrated. It's like, just like last night, I had 4 guys sit down, last guys of the night. What can I get you? I'm like, oh, we'll need a minute. And I'm like, cool, because I close in 5. So, you got a minute literally to order. Well, I'll take this beer. Okay, sir. And he's like, get his first. And I'm like, there's 4 of you. You're ordering beers. Just tell me the 4 beers. This isn't rocket science. Me and another bartender up in Park City, we'd be standing there and someone's just looking and he'd be going like, well, here it comes again. I'm like, yeah, you're right. The hardest decision they're ever going to make in their life. He's like, what's it going to be, an Ultra or a Miller Lite? An Ultra or a Miller Lite? I don't know. I don't think he looks like, and the customer's standing right there looking back and forth, not even paying attention to what we're saying. It's, as a guest, just know what you want.
Yep.
There's so many people. And as a bartender, know what to ask. Hey, how you doing? What are you looking at? Do you like cocktails? Like beer? Always try to narrow it down. Oh, you like beer? What do I have on draft? Well, what kind of beer do you like? I've got lagers. Do you like those? Do you like IPAs? Just keep narrowing that little thing down so you can get them into what they want and get them excited. Like, hey, I've got 6 IPAs. All right. So I've got a hazy. I've got this. I've got this. And what style do you like? And you just keep working it down to them.
There was one banquet event. I remember a lady wanted to know what kind of wines we have. And I was like, oh, we have a mediocre Chardonnay. We have a Merlot that I do not drink. And this lovely cab. And she was like, I will take the cab.
Yeah, I've done that before as well. And this is something else for new bartenders. When someone says, how is this? And it's garbage, but it's on your menu. It's like, that's actually not too bad. But if I was going to order something, I would order this instead. Try to steer them away from something that they're probably not going to enjoy.
And part of it gets back to the customer service -- diplomacy part, like the definition of a good politician is being able to tell someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the journey. You know, so like there are ways, even with the indecisive ones, even with the kind of like annoyed at you for saying, hey, you're taking up my time, I need your order right now. There are ways to guide them through humor, a little grace, a little patience. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it is the being a little like blunt with them, especially if you can make it a joke to the other people they're with.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something else. The diplomacy thing is again actually going to fit in with your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as Josh knows, I can be very diplomatic, but I'm not going to use that many words sometimes. As soon as I go to the small words, that's me saying you need to order now.
Yes. Yep.
That's it. There's no discussion. So, and yeah, and also just learn to excuse yourself as well when stuff like that comes up. It's like, oh, excuse me one second, I got to take care of this. They don't know what your job is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, oh, I just got to go do this. And you can just walk down to the end of the bar and pick up a lime and just walk back to the end of the bar and put it down again. They're not going to pay attention to what you're doing when you just walk away to just get away. That being said, I'd like to bring up to new bartenders. Being a bartender is difficult because generally you're on stage for your entire shift.
Correct.
Trust me, there's times you're like, you need to go to the kitchen sometimes. You don't need food. You don't need anything. You just need to go to the kitchen to get, I do it probably nightly where I just go back to the kitchen for like just 2 minutes just to be like, okay, let's reload and get back to it. I mean, it does happen. You're going to have those nights. Old school thing we used to do was if it was allowed for where you work, we would wear a baseball hat when you work, not because I always wear a baseball hat, but so I didn't have to make eye contact while I was working.
Sure.
Because as soon as you make eye contact, people are going to want to talk. And when you talk to them, make eye contact. Yeah. Don't like be looking over their shoulder or over here, or just treat them like they're the only thing in front of you right now. People, we really appreciate that.
You know, I had an experience yesterday where I had sat down at a bar about late lunch time, and both the bartender and the manager were behind the bar. And now, sure, I sat at the one empty chair at the bar, like there was plenty going on. But I was there for more than 10 minutes without a single one of them even looking at me directly. And I got up and I went 2 blocks down to a different bar.
Yeah, I wouldn't stay either.
I mean, I'm not going to like make a scene. I'm not going to stand up and be like, hey, over here. I'm going to get up and spend my money somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm moving into something like that right now at my current job. We're redoing the bar and the menu and everything. It's going to be great. Our signature drink is going to be a smoked old fashioned. And the way we're doing the smoke is to take a torch and fire up a plank, and then you put the glass over it to absorb the smoke. And then you make the drink in another thing. And then after the drink is done, then you flip the glass over, dress it, because it's an old fashioned. So now you've got to flip the smoke glass over, throw the ice cube in, throw the cherry in, throw the orange in, and then pour the drink in. I've already pointed out that that's not really going to work well, because when you make an old fashioned, you're supposed to combine all those ingredients when you make the drink. Secondarily, this old fashioned is going to have maple syrup in it instead of, I don't know, simple syrup, I guess. And when I've asked it, can we do, maple syrup, like a honey syrup or a simple syrup? Like, no, this will work fine with the maple syrup. And I'm like, it won't. Syrups don't mix. And it's going to take like 3 minutes to make a drink. And like you said, if I'm in a hotel, people walk up to the bar, hey, I'll take this smoked old fashioned. Great. I'm starting to make that. Hey, we'd like some drinks. Yeah, I'll be with you in just a couple minutes. They're not going to stand there for a couple of minutes. They're going to go out the door to one of the 200 other bars that are right outside in Gaslamp, because I'm in the entertainment district. I'm interested to see how this works. I'm going to do my best to make it work. But again, got a good idea how it's going to go, because this is definitely not my first rodeo. Sure. And when you make a guest wait, there's 2 times you don't want to make a guest wait: when they sit down and when they're paying.
Well, okay. I guess my point in bringing that up is be aware of your bar and who is coming and going. Because even if at some point one of them had said, I will be right with you, that would have kept me in that chair.
Yeah.
That's all it would have taken.
When you're busy, just acknowledge.
Just
Say, hey, how
acknowledge.
you doing? I'll be
I
there
mean,
in just one sec.
So every once in a while, even though you've got one person waving a credit card at you and one person trying to get another beer, like look over your shoulder and just make sure the end of the bar is
Good.
still the same scene as when you left it last, you know?
Absolutely. And secondarily, when you're doing that, please wipe your bar down. Beginning
Oh, geez.
bartenders. My biggest pet peeve is leaning on a bar and just picking up my wet arm going, are you fucking kidding me?
I was going to get into cleaning in the next block, but in fact, why don't we take a quick break here and then we will get back to talking about cleaning behind the bar because, boy, I've seen some examples of what not to do. Let's put it that way. Okay, so stay tuned. We will be right back.